What's up, film jammers? This week we're testing out 3 sets of Cinema Primes on our Alexa Mini in 4K. On the high end, we have the very iconic Zeiss Super Speed lenses. In the mid-range, we have the Canon CN-E Primes, which I shot my last feature film on. And on the lower end, we have the Rokinon Cinema Primes, which are the go-to budget filmmaker lens. All right, so can you tell the difference between a $15,000 lens and a $300 lens? Film. Yes. Today we'll be checking out the 35mm and the 50mm primes in each of these sets. The Super Speeds, the Canons, and the Rokinons. And we'll put them side by side so you can see how they compare. All of these lenses are really fast and have t-stops as low as T1.3. The Rokinons are T1.5. We'll be testing them wide open as well as T2.8. We'll be doing 4 different tests: a sharpness test, a bokeh test, a focus breathing test, and a lens flare test. I've personally used the Canon CN-E Primes as well as the Rokinons on a number of my projects, and they're both versatile and I've had great results with them. But we wanted to see what a higher end cinema lens would look like when compared to these more standard and more affordable lenses. Now, the Zeiss Super Speeds are some pretty special lenses, and we're really excited to try them out. They've been used on some small films you may have heard, like Raging Bull, Terminator 2, Solo, A Star Wars Story, RoboCop, Jackie Brown, The Shining, and hundreds of other films. The Zeiss Super Speeds were introduced in the 1980s, and we have the version 2, which came out in the 1990s. The only major difference between the Mark I and the Mark II Super Speeds is the factory iris gear. The optics remain the same for all 3 versions of the Super Speeds, the Mark I, Mark II, and Mark III. Now, for a set of Zeiss Super Speed Mark IIs, you're looking at anywhere from between $10,000 to $15,000 per lens, depending on the condition. So it's out of the range of a lot of owner-operators and more of a rental type item. The Canon CN-E lenses were announced in 2011, and they took Canon's L-series primes and still lenses and brought that DNA over to the cinema world. The Canon CN-E lenses are known for being quite sharp and also having a warm glow to the skin tones. The Canon CN-E primes run about $4,000 per lens, or half the cost of a 1996 Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra Collector's Edition. The Rokinon Cinema Primes. These came about as a result of independent filmmakers looking for a more affordable cinema lens option that still had a declicked iris or aperture as well as focus gears. When they were announced, the Rokinon Cinema Primes were the most affordable cinema lenses that you could buy. The Rokinons are known to be a bit softer, and they're made of more plastic than other cinema lenses, so they're not quite as durable, but they came at a price point that was lower than any other cinema lens up to that point. They were also released in a variety of mounts, so you have Canon EF, Sony E, as well as Micro Four Thirds mounts, so you could use them on a lot of different cameras. So for low budget filmmaking, the Rokinon Primes opened up cinematic lenses to a whole new audience and a whole new price point. A Rokinon Prime lens costs just $300 to $500. So when you compare that to the Canon CN-E, it's almost 10 times less. And when you compare it to a Zeiss Super Speed, it's almost 50 times less. All right, well, enough jibber jabber. Let's see how these lenses perform. I hope seeing these cinema lenses side by side was helpful. I personally always enjoy doing these tests because I always learn something and I can see the characteristics of a lens and see a little bit more how it's going to perform for me on a set. Personally, I own the Canon CN-E Primes and I shot my last feature film on them, LFAT Saves Christmas. If you want to see how they perform in a feature film type setting, you can check out that link. I also own the Rokinon lenses. They're great for a lot of projects. The Zeiss Super Speeds, again, they're more of a rental item for me, but it was really interesting to see how they look compared to these other lenses. If you want to pick up the Super Speeds, you'll have to check eBay or high-end cinema forums, but if you want to pick up the Rokinons or the Canon CN-E lenses, we've got links below for you. Make sure to like and subscribe for more filmmaking content, and we'll see you next week.